Earlier this year, I had my girlfriend play through her first Pokemon game. In fact, to up the ante a little bit, I even asked her to do a Nuzlocke run. What initially seemed like a cruel way to introduce someone to the series ended up being the perfect way to teach her how the games worked. Been a few months since her FireRed playthrough, and I think it's time we checked in on her and see how much she remembers. So this time, I made my girlfriend play Pokemon HeartGold. I guess the first order of business is to address the fanfy in the room. Why is she playing HeartGold instead of the original Gold? Similar to how she started with FireRed instead of the original Red, one of the biggest reasons was she wanted to play as a girl. Although technically she could have been one in Crystal, the major selling point for the remakes came down to one simple fact.
Wait, am I gonna get a walk with my Pokemon? Wait, did that mean that I just gimped my Pokemon in my other game because they weren't walking beside me, they were in a ball?
Walking with Pokemon was one of the coolest things about these games when they first released back in the day. And it's pretty much her favorite thing too.
Hi, Evan. Oh, Ethan. Yours is cute too. It'll come more friendly if you walk with it. I can talk to it? Oh my god!
I don't know how I'm going to explain why she can't in later games, because it might be a deal breaker for her.
I am in love.
That said, it's going to be a tough pill for her to swallow. Either way, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. In the meantime, it gives her another way to bond and grow attached to her Pokemon. Hopefully nothing bad happens to them.
What does Shadow Ball do?
Now is probably as good a time as any to review the rules of a Nuzlocke. For those who don't know already, Nuzlocke is a self-imposed hard mode where you limit yourself to only catching the first Pokemon you encounter in an area. Should your Pokemon faint, it's considered dead and can no longer be used. In my girlfriend's case, these rules are boyfriend imposed and are meant to help her try multiple different Pokemon and learn the game's mechanics properly. We've all been the kid who power levels nothing but their starter and tries to push their way through the game with brute force. And the goal of having her Nuzlocke is to avoid the pitfalls of that playstyle.
Noiki's using his Pokemon as tools of war.
Even after having only played one game, she's starting to pick up on the formula these games follow. She gets to pick a starter Pokemon, there's a rival character.
He just shoved me!
There's usually an evil team doing the various things, and next thing she knows, she's got to go out and collect 8 gym badges. All in service of an absolute forest of professors who need her help to complete the Pokedex.
Elm, what happened to Oak? I get it, they're different kinds of trees.
In her last Pokemon adventure, she chose Bulbasaur as her starter, and it really panned out well for her. Bulbasaur gave her a nice advantage over the first couple of gym battles and helped her get a grasp on how typings worked. Grass typing is usually a pretty solid choice for a beginner with good coverage offensively. Having gone that route the first time, I think she developed a preference for it, because this time around, she decided she wanted to take Chikorita.
Yes. Romane is walking with me!
Ironically, this would have the exact opposite experience to what she went through previously though, as the first 2 gyms in Johto completely bodied Chikorita. In fact, none of the gyms have a weakness to grass in Johto, so she was in for a bit of a rough time. This game just isn't as kind to pure grass types as the previous one, unfortunately. The good news is that gym battles aren't the only battles she'd be facing. With a new region comes plenty of new Pokemon to cover her weaknesses.
It is so cute. I'm just gonna try.
Along with an entirely new world to explore, there are 100 new Pokemon to get to know this go around, and some extra ones if she's willing to look hard enough.
Okay, so I can catch one here. That was a different sound. What the hell?
Your encounter is a Raikou?
Oh. No!
At first, I think she was a little intimidated because learning 100 new names and types seemed like a major undertaking, but I think she was reassured after a little reminder that she'd already learned 150 before. The nice thing about the second generation is that there's a pretty healthy mix of Gen 1 and 2 Pokemon, which is to say, a lot of her anxiety slipped away the first time she stepped in the tall grass and encountered a familiar face.
What did he get? What did he get? Yo, we got a Pidgey! Fitch!
Nicknaming is the optional 3rd rule of Nuzlocke, which is meant to make you grow more attached to your Pokemon. As you can probably tell, it had the desired effect on my girlfriend. Whenever she'd encounter a Pokemon she used from last time, it was like running into an old friend for her, and so a few names carried over. We're still somewhere in the naming everything after food era of her Pokemon journeys, but among the buffet platter of delicious names, some bangers once again slipped through the cracks.
What's the Mob Psycho's name? Dimple. That's kind of cute.
Maybe you should name it Dimple.
Cause it's psychic.
Yeah, that's actually
I like Dimple.
Johto is fairly friendly to newcomers and throws a lot of first-generation Pokemon at the player early on to not overwhelm them. Nowadays, it's totally normal to have a bunch of new Pokemon to discover on the first couple of routes of a new game.
What the hell is a Snubble?
But it's crazy to think about how, as kids, it was exciting enough just having a new place to explore. Encountering Pidgeys and Rattatas was what Pokemon was back then, so we didn't think twice about it.
Yeah, Geodude! Shit, it's only a level 2. I don't want to kill it.
Initially, my girlfriend preferred running into Kanto Pokemon because she had a better idea how to handle them, but Johto encounters usually went more or less the same anyways. A lot like in FireRed, she relied on me telling her what type of Pokemon was if it wasn't obvious already. She dusted off her trusty old typing chart from the previous playthrough and followed it religiously for the first several encounters. Previously, I joked about her funny ways of rationalizing the typings and their weaknesses and resistances. The girlfriend mnemonics came back, and all her crazy rationalizations with them.
Let me think. Wait, I remember. I throw rocks at the birds. I love that move. It level 9. Man, that does a lot of damage.
It's a big new world with lots of new things to see besides just Pokemon. There are all kinds of new mechanics in the DS era of games for her to learn. Eggs, Pokegear, and sending money home to mom are just a few that come to mind.
She's holding 13K.
It's a lot to take in, especially compared to what was available to her in the previous generation. But the more she uncovered, the more excited she got.
This kid wants my number.
The first time a trainer asked her to exchange phone numbers, her jaw practically hit the floor.
I'm getting a phone call. He just called me about a Rattata. Did he want a battle?
He's just telling you about his battle.
Oh my god, is this gonna be like Undertale all over again? Why did I give these kids my phone number?
Avoiding trainer battles was something she tried to do a lot less of this time around. After dealing with the woes of being severely underleveled in her last playthrough, she did her best to try and stay on par with the trainers she encountered. It's much easier to grind in Johto, as trainers ask for reactions all the time. Just be prepared to receive a "you up" text at 4 AM under the guise of a trainer battle.
Sup? This is Anthony. How are you? Which one is Anthony? Took off when I got distracted by a passing beauty. They're hitting on me!
In this playthrough, her team composition changed a lot more than before. Where last time some clear stars emerged early and carried her to the finish, this time she had sort of an ensemble cast. That's not to say there weren't some standouts among the crowd though. Admittedly, it was tempting to want to use all the familiar team members from her last playthrough. Although, after giving it some thought, she decided it was a good idea to let some of the other Pokemon get the spotlight.
Oh, he's amazing!
Some of the battles in Johto are notoriously difficult, and I didn't do a very good job of warning her that this was a bit of a step up in difficulty from Kanto. I was fully convinced when she walked into the Goldenrod City gym that Whitney would be what ended my girlfriend's playthrough. That was almost the case, but instead I got to bear witness to the stall match of the century.
What? What?
For those that don't know, this fight is notoriously difficult and a run ender for even experienced players. My girlfriend managed to squeeze out victory all thanks to the hero known as Jeep. Whitney's mistake was underestimating the chivalry of Geodude and his unbreakable spirit. All the moo milk in the world couldn't save her from his impenetrable defense.
Come on, hit. Yeah? 10! Ah!
With that being said, I need to take a moment to speak on behalf of Jeep the Geodude. There are a lot of exploding Pokemon in Johto for some reason, and that's a Nuzlocker's worst nightmare. Jeep was the wall that refused to fall in the face of physical attacks. Anytime a Pokemon that knew self-destruct was on the field, you could rely on Jeep to take it on the chin.
What the hell?
My god.
Jeep just ate that!
His defenses were the key to a lot of her success in Johto.
There is no explosion for Jeep. No.
Jeep gets enough explosions.
Yeah.
The story beats in Johto are pretty condensed toward the back end of the game. Most of Team Rocket's shenanigans happen within a couple gym battles of each other. There's a lot of piggybacking off the previous game, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Lance! Oh my god, wait! Is this the Lance from last time?
There's something fun about remembering her first adventure.
Oh my god, this is Giovanni! Do you not remember me from last time? I don't even look like Giovanni. Oh, this isn't the real Giovanni.
She'd always get excited seeing a reference to Gen 1 or a familiar face here or there.
Yo, when am I having a double battle with Lance? I'm literally having a double battle with Lance! Look at how cool we look! Oh my god, I'm so excited about this! It's because he respects me because I beat him last time.
One thing that these games do a little differently is incorporate the legendaries into the main game. They ushered in what would become a tradition of having legendary box art Pokemon. Ironically, she never encountered a single legendary during her adventure in Kanto, so it's no surprise she was clueless about their existence, or the fact that she could actually catch them. In this one, they steer her straight to one, and she'd have to be blind to miss it.
There's a legendary Pokemon here?
3 of them right there.
Oh! Yo! Look at him! Ho ho! I'm fighting a ho-ho. Do I not get another Master Ball? Yes! Yay! Oh, it's Ho-Oh. I kept calling him Ho-Ho.
With a legendary in hand, the only thing left to do was venture through Victory Road. Along with this came her first few steps back into Kanto as she started to put together the pieces of how this world fits together.
Hey! Do you know what you just did? You're taking your first steps to Kanto? Oh my god! I'm going back! Is this the same Victory Road?
Even the most complicated strength puzzles were no threat to her now that she knew how super repels worked. But she wasn't going to make it to the summit without one final visit from yours truly. Somehow it's always the rival battles that have the most casualties. Credit where credit is due. If not for that unlucky burn, I have no doubt he'd still be with us. But there's no time to mourn. She was at the steps of the Indigo Plateau now, and her team was a fraction of its former glory.
We lost our rock.
With the death of her beloved Geodude, it was time to reassess some things. Jeep was her answer to a lot of type matchups. He was a way to beat fire, flying, and most importantly of all, electric types. Looking over the remaining members of her party, 2 things became clear. One was she needed to do some serious training if she was going to stand a chance beating the Elite Four. The other was that without a ground type, electricity would tear straight through her team. So it was time to bring an old friend out of retirement.
Yo, let's go!
For those that remember, this was good old Grape Lord's chance to redeem himself. Hopefully she can make it to the Hall of Fame without any casualties this time.
Destiny Bond!
Oh shit, in Destiny Bond?
Yeah.
It's gonna take Apollo with it.
Wait! No, Apollo from Full! Oh, Apollo! I lost my legendary Pokemon!
Has she seen even legends stumble on the road to victory? Now begins the real test of her adventure. At the champion steps, it's time to show her true mettle. She's put up an impressive fight this playthrough, and she should be proud of how far she's made it. All that's left to do is watch her walk through those doors and see what happens.
Damn, we fought together! it! Grape Lord! Nice, nice. Oh.
That was a crit. That was a crit.
He just crit.
Crit you.
That's huge. Yes! Oh my god.
You have a heart of gold. Don't let them take it from you.
Okay. Okay, this is huge, this is huge. Oh, it's big. Okay. Charizard! Okay.
Crit. Oh god, that was a crit. You're freaking me out.
I know, I'm freaking out.
Oh god. You're kidding me.
Oh. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay.
Please hurt yourself. Please. Yes.
Yes,
Big,
yes.
big,
This is big. This is big. This is big. This is big.
This big. Finish him. Finish
Side
him.
beam. Side beam. Side beam.
Are you kidding?
No! How many does he have?
Please. For my girlfriend's sakes.
Side beam. Side beam. I can't. I need to. I have to side beam. Side beam.
Come on.
Yes!
Come on.
Good.
Please. Please.
Dimple's my hero!
Oh my god. You pulled that out. I don't know how you pulled that out, but you did it. Oh my god. With one Pokemon left. Oh. And you lost your entire team.
My entire team! And I won!
You
Dimple!
won! You won!
Even I don't know if I could have pulled off a victory like that. All I can say for certain is that little kid me wouldn't have stood a chance. Seriously, I would have thrown in the towel the second I lost my Lapras. She's obviously grown a lot as a trainer, and she remembered the most important rule of them all, never give up. But let's not forget all the Pokemon who helped her get there too.
That was a massacre! her. These are all my little guys except for Dimple.
Having toppled the Pokemon League by the skin of her teeth, she's finally earned the right to be called a Pokemon Master again. Unfortunately, her challenge isn't even over yet, but that's a story for another day.
I have to fight them now?
You have to get 8 more.